For years, many people believed that the heart of Israel, cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa, were almost untouchable. Protected by some of the most advanced air defense systems in the world, the country built a reputation for intercepting rockets and missiles before they could reach major population centers. But modern warfare has a way of challenging assumptions. And when missiles start flying across the Middle East, the reality becomes far more complicated. In recent escalations involving Iran, explosions, debris, and impact craters have reminded the world of something important. Even the most sophisticated defense systems have limits. This is the story of how Iran built a missile strategy designed not just to strike targets, but to overwhelm an entire defense network. Unlike many Western military powers, Iran never tried to match its rivals plane for plane. The country has faced decades of sanctions that limited access to advanced fighter aircraft and military technology. So instead of building a massive modern air force, Iran invested heavily in something else: missiles. Over time, Tehran developed one of the largest missile arsenals in the Middle East. These weapons range from short-range rockets to powerful ballistic missiles capable of traveling more than 1,000 kilometers. Some of the most well-known systems include the Shahab-3, the more accurate Imad missile, and the heavy warhead-capable Khorramshahr missile. Each of these missiles carries a large explosive payload, and when one of them hits the ground at extreme speed, the result can be devastating. The impact alone carries enormous kinetic energy. Combine that with hundreds of kilograms of explosives, and the explosion can leave behind a deep crater while damaging buildings in the surrounding area. That's why images of impact sites sometimes show large holes in the ground, evidence of high-energy ballistic strikes rather than small rockets.
This was last night.
To understand how Iranian missiles could get through it all, you have to understand how Israel's defense network is designed. Israel operates a multi-layered shield meant to intercept threats at different distances and altitudes. The first layer is Iron Dome, a system built to stop short-range rockets. It's extremely effective and has intercepted thousands of incoming projectiles over the years. Above that sits David's Sling, designed to intercept medium-range missiles and more advanced threats. At the highest level is the Arrow missile defense system, which is meant to destroy ballistic missiles high above the atmosphere before they can descend toward their targets. In theory, this layered defense creates a nearly impenetrable shield. But warfare is rarely that simple. Missile defense systems are incredibly advanced, but they all share one limitation. They can only intercept a certain number of targets at once. Every incoming missile must be tracked by radar, a defensive interceptor must be launched, and each interceptor costs a huge amount of money, sometimes hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Iran's military planners understand this very well, so instead of launching just a few missiles, they rely on a concept known as a saturation attack. The idea is straightforward: launch a massive number of drones and missiles at the same time. If 100 or more threats appear on radar simultaneously, the defense system must decide which ones to intercept first. Some will inevitably slip through. This isn't about precision alone, it's about volume. Iran has also incorporated drones into this strategy. One of the most widely known models is the Shahed 136, a loitering munition often referred to as a kamikaze drone. These drones are relatively cheap compared to ballistic missiles. They fly slowly and can travel long distances before striking their targets. But their main role in large-scale attacks may not always be destruction. Sometimes they are used as decoys. By sending waves of drones first, attackers force air defense systems to activate radar and launch interceptors. Each interceptor fired reduces the available stockpile. Then, when the air defense system is already busy, ballistic missiles are launched afterward. It's a layered attack designed to stretch defensive resources to their limits. For people living in Tel Aviv, the moment a missile threat is detected, everything changes in seconds. Israel has one of the most advanced civilian warning systems in the world. The moment radar detects incoming missiles, sirens begin sounding across the city. Residents usually have less than a minute to react. People in apartments rush into reinforced safe rooms, known locally as mamad. These rooms are built with thick concrete walls designed to withstand blasts and shrapnel. On the streets, drivers often stop their cars immediately and run toward the nearest shelter. Families grab their children, pets, and emergency bags before heading underground. Within moments, the atmosphere shifts from everyday life to tense silence. Then come the sounds. Sometimes it's the sharp boom of an interceptor missile launching. Sometimes it's a distant explosion in the sky as an incoming projectile is destroyed. And sometimes there's the unmistakable sound of a blast reaching the ground. Even when most missiles are intercepted, the psychological impact can be significant. Cities like Tel Aviv are economic hubs, places known for nightlife, technology companies, and busy urban life. When sirens interrupt that routine, the sense of vulnerability spreads quickly. Children wake up in the middle of the night. Parents try to remain calm while listening for updates from emergency services. In many cases, residents remain inside shelters for several minutes until authorities confirm that the threat is past. Then life slowly resumes until the next siren. While Israel is often the most visible target, Iran's broader strategy goes beyond Israeli territory. One major objective is to challenge the military presence of the United States in the Middle East. American forces operate multiple bases across the region, including locations in Iraq, Qatar, and Bahrain. These bases support operations throughout the region and serve as key logistical hubs. By threatening or striking these installations, Iran aims to increase the cost of maintaining that presence. In strategic terms, the message is clear. Any large-scale war in the region could affect not just Israel, but the entire network of U.S. military infrastructure in the Middle East. Another major concern is the possibility that a direct conflict between Iran and Israel could expand. Iran has long-standing alliances with armed groups across the region. One of the most powerful among them is Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah possesses a large arsenal of rockets and missiles capable of reaching northern Israel. If a wider war were to break out, attacks could potentially come from several directions at once. Military analysts sometimes describe this scenario as a ring of fire, where multiple fronts open simultaneously. Such a development would significantly raise the stakes of the conflict. What happens next? Predicting the future of conflicts in the Middle East is always difficult. Some confrontations end quickly after limited strikes and political negotiations. Others evolve into long-running standoffs, with occasional escalations followed by periods of uneasy calm. The balance between offense and defense, between missiles and interceptors, continues to shape this dynamic. What is clear is that missile warfare has become one of the defining features of modern regional conflict. And as technology advances, both sides continue adapting their strategies. The bottom line: the missile exchanges between Iran and Israel are not just about individual strikes or isolated incidents. They reflect a broader strategic competition. Iran has built a doctrine based on large missile inventories and saturation attacks designed to test the limits of advanced defense systems. Israel, meanwhile, continues to refine one of the most sophisticated air defense networks ever developed. Between those two realities lies a tense balance, one that affects not just the region, but the wider global security landscape. For the people living in cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa, however, the situation is much more immediate. When the sirens sound, geopolitics fades into the background, and survival becomes the only thing that matters.
صدق روح سوصله نجوز